Hello, my name is Pablo Urbano, and I will talk about the competitive analysis on the hook or grappling chain, as seen across multiple genres of video games. I'm also going to talk about how it affects gameplay, decision making, the game flow, and deconstruct multiple games to explain how this mechanic works in all of them and how it affects them. To first explain what the hook is, we must explain what the hook does. Across multiple games, the hook is a way to both traverse the world and to expand upon the combat flow on a game. The way the hook works is by reducing the distance between the shooter and the game object that has been hit. The way this works varies between different games, but the most common way of doing this is by applying force opposite to the direction the game object has been hit from. This way, the game object will immediately be thrown against the shooter. The problem with this method is that since the body is being applied force to, the game object will have to work with a rigid body of sorts, making it unpredictable in certain occasions, because this method calculates the mass of an object, but not the terrain it is in, changing completely if it is in different type of terrains or on a slope. There are multiple ways games are affected by this mechanic, and even in some cases, the mechanic can be completely different inside one game. As a first example of this hook, we have Dragon Age Inquisition. In this game, the player is able to choose between two types of hook, one that changes the player's position and one that changes the game object that has been hit with. The difference between both is not only what the hook does to the gameplay, but also what happens after the hook is used. As shown on the left, we can see that the player is an archer, which means that he will want to apply fast damage and be able to retreat to a safety position behind the allied lines. While in the left, we have the player using a warrior. With this in mind, the way they affect their enemies are completely opposite to each other. While the archer version of the ability deals great amount of damage, it does not stun them, holding them in place only for just a short amount of time for the animation to be played. This is also accompanied by the move back ability, which grants the player with the safe distance to retreat. By the other hand, we have the warrior's chain ability, which impulses the enemy into his direction and proceeds to stun them so the player can deal damage over time, while also calling the attention of the enemy. But not only games are shaped by this. The mechanic is also shaped by the genre it's in. As we can see, we have two different games. In the screen, we first have the hook of Blitzcrank in League of Legends, and in the second one, we have the hook for the player in Kingdom of Amalur Reckoning. Both games have the hook mechanic, but the way they work and are used are completely different. With Kingdom of Amalur, the idea was to create a feeling of overpoweredness and control, so the player is given less seconds on cooldown for this mechanic. While in a MOBA game, balancing is one of the most important parts of the design, so the hook must be slower and offer a bigger chance of failing it so the players are on an equal field.